Hi, I just want to share today from this yummy space I'm in straight after a session with a couple, some clients of mine. And it was the session today was on desire and expressing your desires in your close relationships. And wow, there is just so much in this one topic. It's amazing. There are so many different layers to it, and so much came up and was seen and felt and moved through in one session. So if you think about it, to start with, how many of our desires that we have and that we express in our lives are really ours? How many of our desires come from a kind of going with the flow, or who we were brought up to be, sort of societal conditioning on what we need to be a happy, fulfilled person. There are just so many factors affecting what we think are our desires. And so one thing I recommend in the course is to start this journey with your desires and with knowing your desires and asking, what are my authentic desires? What's really mine? What do I really desire for my life, for my relationships, for myself? And the way to do that, the way to find that, is through the path of embodiment. So the more we embody ourselves, the more we discover our own energetic bodies. We discover there are often blocks and fears to knowing what our authentic desires are. And you just think about when we were children, we were often told either we weren't asked what we wanted, or we were told we wanted too much, or we felt we got into trouble for desiring what we did. So there are lots of things often in the way from that beautiful energy of desire flowing freely through our energetic highway. And then, so once you start to get embodied, you find these things and you can work with them, and you get more in touch with that embodied desire and start to reveal what are your true desires, what are your authentic desires, and what are you really wanting on a day-to-day and moment-to-moment basis. Like, so often we are stuck in habits, and we're carrying out routines, and we're carrying out kind of what's required, and sticking in a bit extra as well. But when we get really much more present in our bodies, we start to get into the subtleties of these moment-to-moment desires when we're interacting intimately. And this, to know them, to feel them, to admit them to ourselves, and to express them, takes a huge amount of courage, and it's often very vulnerable. And so I want to share a situation that arose today with this couple to demonstrate. So we were getting in touch with the embodied feeling of the energy of desire, and the female client of this couple went inside, and she realized there was a blockage in her womb space to desire. There was a numbness there, and then there was a feeling of grief. And I just want to say that my clients have really encouraged me to share experiences from our sessions. They are happy for me to do that. That's something I've checked with them. And so just feeling these difficult emotions arising in her womb. And so we're sitting with that and feeling it. And there's need to be given space and time, and to be felt and to be accepted and to be loved. We were sitting with that. And then I asked her in that moment, is there anything that you feel that you want, that you desire right now while you're feeling this grief, this sadness? And she kind of at first went to say, no, she was just used to feeling it. And then she kind of cocked her head and felt in a little more, and then she said, yeah, actually, I want my partner to hold me, to put his arms around me. And when he heard this, he just jumped up. He felt so happy to come round behind her and put his arms around her and just hold her while she felt that grief and sadness and had a release. She released a lot of that old stuck emotion there while he held her. And it was such a beautiful moment. And afterwards she said, 100 doors just opened there. No, I think for many of us, when we had when we had difficult emotions come up when we were kids, maybe some of us were hugged or held or comforted, but a lot of people weren't, and a lot of our emotions were too much for our parents, so we were left alone with them, or we had to suppress them. And rarely do I know people who were actually asked in moments of emotional distress when they were growing up by a caretaker, like, what do you want, darling? What do you need now? And so it's not something that we're really used to, and we also, it's not something that we're used to actually feeling what we want, and definitely not asking for it. And so, yeah, the woman said, yeah, she's used to just dealing with her feelings in herself, and that's just the way she does it. That's what she does. And her husband said, yeah, if she is upset, I want to help, I want to do something, but I don't know what to do. And this is also, of course, really, really common. We want to help, but we don't know what to do. So we often end up doing things like we ask, like, what's wrong? And we ask about it and we get them to analyze. But this more actually takes us up into our heads rather than in the body where we need to be to feel the feelings so that they can move, so that they can release. And so for her, it was a real breakthrough for her to be in that emotional space, be able to feel into what she wanted, and vulnerably ask her partner for what she wanted. And then it just felt so good for him to be asked and to know what to do, and to know I'm doing the right thing for her because that's what she's asked for. It's so easy for me then to meet her need. And of course he really wanted to do that then. Yeah, so then we swapped over, and the man also had some blockage, like a wound in the heart to do with desire, and he was feeling that. And eventually we got to the space where he also wanted touch from his wife, from his partner, and he was able to. At first he said, no, I don't need anything, I don't want anything. He was just feeling it himself, and then in time he said, oh no, I want to be touched, I want a hug. And again she got up and gave him that hug that he asked for, and just the willingness and the happiness in her face to be able to go and hold him while he was feeling those difficult feelings from difficult past experiences to do with expressing desire in his heart. And so again, I just was blown away by the vulnerability and the courage. I think we all struggle with that, but if I'm going to generalize, I would hazard a guess to say that maybe men in our culture even more. That, they were definitely not often in our culture conditioned into needing comfort and nurture and affection, and let alone even feel and express their difficult emotions like sadness. And yeah, so for him to be able to feel in that moment, to really feel his feelings with us, and then realize, yeah, actually I want to be hugged, and to ask for that, I think took great courage in that moment. And so I want to honor both of them, and really just highlight how much I saw from this situation, how much this moment bonded them, how much it brought them closer together, that they could both feel into what they wanted and needed from each other in these moments of feeling difficult emotions, express those desires, and the other could then really be happy to meet it, to know what to do, and to know what they could give to be there for their beloved. Yeah, and so I was looking a little bit further into that with men, and thinking about how I think often from conditioning, men can feel like, oh, like unconsciously, the only way that I can actually get physical affection, touch, nurture, nourishment, and is to, I mean, this just physical closeness, is to get sex. It's almost like that's the only really acceptable way for them to get this physical closeness sometimes. And so they're kind of in the habit of looking for that, when maybe what they want is to be just to be held, or to have their face stroked, or, you know, and they said, you know, they get into the habit because of this busy life, and it's like, oh, how do you want to be touched? And that's, oh, I need a neck rub or a shoulder rub or something. So we go for these sort of common things that will help us sort of unwind and relax a bit because we're busy and stressed, but it still doesn't allow really this space and the vulnerability to get down into those nuances of, yeah, sometimes we just want to be held. And sometimes we would love just our hand held, just to show, you know, I'm there, I'm here. Or if there's some pain and stress and difficult feelings, to have the face stroked or the heart stroked, something to just show I'm here, supporting this release that you're going through. Yeah, so I really want to leave that with you, with the passion that I'm feeling for getting further into the body and noticing in those moment-to-moment subtleties, in all these moments that we have where we end up just playing out habits and functioning with our partners and with our close people, our close friends and family, and breaking out of those habits and routines by getting more embodied and feeling into the nuances of what's alive for you. What are you really desiring from this moment with these people that you love?